chose you. He decided what you would receive for eternity before you were born, before you even had the chance to do good things. And so his reward, his eternal reward, it has to be something based on something other than what you do. The rest of the Bible tells us that that's a result of his grace. He chooses you by grace before the world existed, before you were born, before you could do anything good or bad. If you belong to him, then he's chosen you by grace. So, with all of that sort of theology foundation laid, what's going on here? What's the place of these good deeds? How should we think about them? It's the difference between being saved according to good works and being saved by our good works. Let me explain what I mean. These good works are evidence that you belong to Jesus rather than the instrument by which you come to Jesus. It's a bit like evidence that's presented at any sort of trial. Some of you might know that Catherine Ingram's from Northern Ireland. Imagine that Catherine gets arrested as being an illegal immigrant and she's going to be deported back to Ireland. And so we try and gather all the evidence to show that she's Australian. You know, we find her citizenship certificate with her name on it. We find her record that she's paid taxes here in Australia. And we find evidence that she knows how to cook a barbecue and to spray Aerogard and to wear a hat and how to apply sunscreen. We show that she can sing the national anthem. We show that she knows the rules of cricket. We show that she knows she likes eating Vegemite, maybe. Now, none of those things make her Australian, but they're what Australians do. They're evidence of who she is. Now, it's the same with the evidence that Jesus presents here for the sheep and the goats. Their good works don't make them sheep. They're evidence that they are sheep. These are the sorts of things that God's children do. This is what distinguishes them from the rest, from the goats. Someone who has real faith walks the walk. They don't just talk the talk. Their actions flow from their faith. We're not saved by our good works, we are saved for good works. That's the argument of James chapter 2. James chapter 2 says that real faith is always accompanied by actions. It says that faith without deeds is a dead faith. It's not actually faith. It's an intellectual acknowledgement, but it's not real faith unless it's evidenced by good deeds. So there's the question, do you have a real faith? Are you walking the walk or just talking the talk? If you were arrested by the government for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Next slide. But perhaps you're saying, hang on a minute, Dave, what about people who aren't Christians? They do good things. There's evidence that they're a sheep. Plenty of people like that. If it's just about the evidence, then shouldn't these people who do good works, shouldn't they make it into God's kingdom as well? It's a good question. The answer, though, has to do with this second question. Who are the good works done for? It's quite a striking point in these verses, isn't it? Jesus says that all the sheep were actually doing good things for him. It just jumps out at you, doesn't it? Verse 35, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty. You gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in, and so on. But the sheep can't remember when they helped Jesus. Surely they would have remembered that. Like verse 37, when did we see you hungry? And so on. And what does the king reply? Verse 40, I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me. Sheep didn't even notice that they'd done anything. They'd never met Jesus as he walked on the earth, yet somehow in the everyday small actions of helping out the people that came across their path, they were actually doing that service for Jesus or to Jesus. So how does that work? Well, one way of thinking about this strange sort of substitution is that the service was done to other people as a way of expressing service to Jesus. In other words, it was because they were following Jesus that they helped the least and the overlooked. They showed that they loved Jesus by doing the things that Jesus loves, by loving his brothers. Next slide. We saw that when we looked at Colossians not so long ago. 3:22, slaves, obey your earthly masters with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men. Jesus' approval doesn't come when we do good works in general, but in doing good works for him. And the goats miss out because they weren't doing good works for Jesus. You see, people do good works for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes they're self-serving reasons. They do things to be seen, to be approved of, or maybe even to earn their salvation. Often people do good works because they genuinely want to help other people, to improve their lot, to make a difference, to relieve suffering, and they're wonderful reasons. But they're not doing them for Jesus. They're not doing them in obedience to Jesus. And that's the crucial factor in this parable, in this story. You see, the primary sin, the foundational sin, is when people refuse to serve Jesus. The foundational sin is the choice to run your own life rather than letting Jesus run your life. All other sin flows from that expression of independence, that choice. I want to live my life my own way, so I'm going to make this choice and that choice. Whether you choose the foundational sin of rejecting, it's those who seek to honour Jesus in this life that Jesus then.